Welcome to Money Talk with Tiff, a podcast where we discuss everything money from tips and tricks to current events. Follow me on my journey to become debt-free and meet other cool people along the way. I am your host, Tiffany Grant. Now let's talk money. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Money Talk with Tiff podcast. Today I have Charles Weems III on the line, and I am so excited to have Charles. He is a phenomenal entrepreneur. He owns a company called Weems Design Studio, which is a software engineering firm where he employs 50 plus people, which is awesome. He has been featured in Black Enterprises Magazine, the Minority Business Development Agency, and TV One Online. He is an amazing person in the community, and I'm so glad to have him on. Hey, Charles, how you doing?
Hey, Tiffany, good morning.
It is a bright and early morning here. But I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about your story, and because people don't understand, it's hard to run a company and especially start hiring people. We just recently started hiring people for one of our companies, not Money Talk with Tiff, but another one, and it is stressful.
Yeah, and the key is to find the right people for the job. So really figuring out what your message is about your company, understanding the values that are important to you, being able to communicate that to people, and finding a strategic way to identify people that have common core values with what you have in your business is the key.
Awesome. And I mean, to reach the level that you have reached, in reading your bio, you have received the Class 2 award with the GMSDC, what is GMSDC? It's for people.
So GMSDC is the Georgia Minority Supply Diversity Council. They have the Georgia representation, they have a regional representation, and it's a national organization. So it consists of many companies like mine, some of the bigger businesses like Coca-Cola, Home Depot. It's really a strategic place for minority-owned businesses and entrepreneurs to get together to have a open space to talk to the larger firms on how to do business with them, and for us to also collaborate with each other as well. And so it's been a really good opportunity for me to be a part of that organization and grow as an entrepreneur as well. So
that is awesome. And they recognized you for grossing between 1 million and 2 million annually. That's big for a small business. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully we can get in the next tier within the next year. So the next tier up.
Absolutely. Nice. Now, I wanted to talk, because before we got on, we had a little chat about money and things like that. And, you shared with me like way back when you first started, you was buying out the club, $400 bow ties, just, spending money crazy. And you said you had spoke to someone, like a mentor, and they kind of helped you reel it in. If you can just walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah. So like most young people, after you get out of school and you think of having that dream job, and, you want a Lamborghini, and, you want an 8-bedroom house and all of this stuff. So I didn't go that far, but after I did get my professional job and started to do well there, the salary started to increase. So, more money, more problems. So, I got a house, I moved out from my parents' house. I got a house and got a nice car, and I like to wear suits and bow ties. So I spent plenty of money on stuff like that. Going out, with friends, I would buy out, drinks, and we would go out to eat. I would pay for everybody, and, that kind of thing. And, at the end of the year, Christmas time, where you want to give and do different things. I didn't have nothing, right? All my stuff was on the rack in the closet or, downstairs or whatever the case may be. And so I just got frustrated because I was like, it doesn't make any sense for me to be making this amount of money and I don't have anything, to show for it. And so one of my mentors at the time, sat me down and, he was like, I know what you're doing with your money. You spending it all, you eating it up. And that's fine. Get it out your system, so that, when the time comes for you to get serious, you're ready. And he's like, it's a good thing that I was young, kind of getting it out of my system, because some people are adults or older, I should say, and they still doing the same thing and living paycheck to paycheck. And so he sat me down and he introduced me to a financial planner that sat me down, and he and I kind of went at it a little bit, and I was fighting him on putting together a budget, right? And so he's like, dude, trust me, I've been doing this for years. Just do the budget and we can start from there. And so when I did a budget, it was like looking in a mirror. And I was just like, oh my God, I am like the stupidest person in the world to be throwing this kind of money away on stupid stuff, right? On liability, not assets, right? And so that is really what shocked me to really get myself together is once I sat down and did a budget and I looked at it and it was just like, this is ridiculous. I should not be doing this. And so it's like the teacher was like, okay, now you're ready to hear what I got to tell you.
And that's why, like, for instance, like when I'm with my clients, that's one of the first things we do is we start tracking our spending and doing a budget. Because like you said, I like what you said, it's like a mirror. Like you realize where you're spending your money, you realize what bad habits you have, you realize what good habits you have, and then it allows you to kind of reset, everything. And so budgeting, y'all, I'm telling you, it don't matter how much you make, but
how much you can keep.
Exactly. Budgeting is important. It is so important. And I like to tell people, usually you don't have an earning problem, you have a spending problem.
That's right. And so like, fast forward to now, I'm 39. I always forget that. I'm 39. And so my wife, she works in the FDIC. So she already had a financial background before we got married. And so like we read a book by Susie Orman to figure out a strategy on how we combine our finances. And so when I talk to young people about, making money and different things like that, I'm like, the salary is not the number that matters. The question y'all should be asking me is how much of that salary do I spend on or to live? And so like for us, our percentage on our income is like 39%. Just paying the house, cars, bills, whatever the case may be. So the rest is free to invest and do other things that we want to do. And so I try to change the mindset on don't just look at somebody that makes $1 million, because I know people that make way more than I do and live paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really managing your spending and delayed gratification.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there's nothing wrong with wanting a Bentley and all of that stuff, but manage your expectation on when it's realistic and it's financially responsible for you to have it. So.
You are dropping so many gems right now because I be trying to tell people like when I was working at a firm, there was people that had millions, but they were still broke.
Yep.
But then there were people at the same firm making like 40, modest salaries, maybe 40,000, 50,000, and had more money than they did, So it's all about how you spend it and adjusting your lifestyle. Like, what I've learned is as my salary grew, like when I was in corporate, as my salary grew, I still kept my lifestyle the same. So like how I live now is the same way I lived when I was making like $10 an hour, right?
And that's okay. I think we get too caught up in the hype of wanting to impress other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just human nature. I mean, you want to, you want people to see when you're doing well and all of those things. But again, you shouldn't do it in the sense of you putting yourself in a bind, right? To impress somebody else. And so that's a hard path to walk, I guess, if you live for other people, right? And so that's the hardest part, is to manage. Well, I don't care what other people think, that I don't have Jordans, or that my whole outfit is not Nike'd out, or those kind of things. Like if you see me during the week, sometimes, like especially now, I just got on a sweatshirt and some jeans and some shoes I bought at Walmart that were like $2, right? So, it's really being comfortable with who you are and knowing who you are, and an expectation of having something for later. So, like you, I have a child now, so that's really in the back of my mind of making sure that we manage what we have so that she's prepared for life.
Right, exactly. Kids will humble you. Kids will humble you. And I feel like that was part of why I got started on the right track so early. Like, I had my son when I was 18, so I was like a teen mom. And it was from that moment on, I was like, okay, Tiffany, you need to get your stuff together.
And so I'm late to the game. So my daughter she's 18 months now.
Oh.
And so, when she came, I'm like, before she came, when I found out my wife was pregnant, I'm like, okay, we got to make sure she's prepared for college and, blah, blah, blah. And all this stuff. My wife like, can she turn one? We got time. So, but to your point, it does humble you and put things in perspective. So a lot of things that I had prepared that I wanted and, I wanted to do, it's on pause. Some of the things I can still do, but some of the things are not as important, because I definitely want to make sure we maximize what we have so that she's prepared when she turns, 18, 19, 20.
Right. And really, the earlier you start, the better. So it's the less you have to scramble around towards the end.
And so, like, even from a financial standpoint, like, if you could roll back the hands of time, like, I wish I was doing some of this stuff in my 20s, because compounded interest is your best friend when it comes to doing things with your money. And so, yeah, I could be a little more aggressive now because we're doing well from a business standpoint, and we don't spend a whole lot to live. But man, if I was doing some of these little things, putting $100 away into a high interest account or a money market account or something like that in your 20s to your like 50, like, you will have a lot of change, and I think that's the other thing that's not as pretty, because it takes a longer time, and we usually want microwave success where we get $1 million tomorrow. But the truth of the matter is, time is really your friend. If you start early, it works in your favor.
Exactly. And I just made a post about that on my personal Facebook page. I was like, so many people want quick fixes and fast money.
Yep. It sounds good, but yeah, it don't happen like that.
It absolutely doesn't. But I wanted to go back, because you said that one of the things that opened your eyes was having a mentor tell you. And I just wanted to stress the importance of seeking counsel, seeking people that will help you on your journey. I feel like it's very underestimated. People try to do everything on their own. I had a career coach when I was in corporate. I have a business coach now. It's just very important to get a perspective or multiple perspectives from people that are also successful or that also can give knowledge to you.
Yeah. So I think that's my message in life. So Proverbs in the Bible is my favorite book of the Bible, because it speaks about wisdom, and it talks about counsel and how wisdom is screaming out in the street, but nobody listens. Right. And so I run to counsel. before I have to make major decisions, whether it's, with my wife or whether it's in business or health, right? I run and seek out advice, and people that I can respect and people that I feel like can be transparent. Everybody can't be a mentor.
Yes.
Because I'm saying this, but I've had a really bad experience with a mentor. But I think it's an African proverb that says, "When the student is ready, the teacher will appear."
Mm.
And by you putting it out there that you're seeking out information, the right person that's open to share and be transparent will come along and share that information. But it's very important because a lot of times we get in our own mind and think we know everything. I mean, think about you growing up as a teenager, right? Your parents try to tell you stuff. You're like, man, what you talking about? You old. You don't know what's going on right now. But as you become an adult, you're like, yeah, they tried to tell me that, this was their experience and it's much the same. And so it's very important that you identify you have a need, right? You have a problem. You need help, which is very hard to say, I need help. And then, really trying to seek out people that you can talk to and bounce ideas off of and just be transparent. So that I would tell that to anybody. I mean, I've done other panels and podcasts, and that's like my go-to is like, mentorship is very important, and seek out counsel as much as you can. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I need help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, just to let people know, like, for instance, with me, when I was in corporate, like I went from making like $10 an hour or so to, about 60,000 a year. And the only reason is because I had a career coach, and she was a veteran in the game as far as, corporate America is concerned. So she told me how to navigate. She told me how to interview, what to do, what to say. And I did that in 3 or 4 years. And I would have never gotten it that quick had I did it on my own.
That's like much things in life, right? I talk to people that want to start businesses, and they, well, I read this online and, blah, blah, blah. And I try to give them advice and they spit it back at me. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll be quiet. Come talk to me when you're ready. And after they hit their head against the wall enough, then they say, okay, Charles, what am I doing wrong? I'm like, all right, now listen, I'm going to tell you this. You need to listen to me when I'm talking to you. Okay. And I'm trying to navigate you through the process so you don't get frustrated, because it's already going to be hard enough, right? Being an entrepreneur. And a lot of times I've learned that people just aren't ready to receive information and that's okay too. That's a part of learning, right? Because I was the same way in the money example or finance example that I gave earlier. So I try to encourage people to get to that part sooner. Get outside of yourself. You don't know everything. Understand there could be a better way, and you'll go further.
Absolutely. So. Absolutely. So, I mean, this was an awesome episode. And, people can glean a lot of information and a lot of knowledge from others that, have built. So like, for instance, with you've built your company from the ground up, and now you're getting all these accolades and, hiring staff and things like that. But you had to start somewhere. And that's another message that I want to leave with our audience, is that don't feel like you have to be on someone else's timeline, right? So, we're like, oh, we got to hurry up and do this, or, oh, I got to hurry up and hire my first person, or, that type of thing. It's not a race. Life is not a race. Life is your own journey. And so, like, for instance, with Charles, when did you start your company?
This was back in 2006.
2006. So it took you years to get to this point, and I think it's important to put that in perspective for people, that these things do not happen overnight. But if you're consistent, if you're diligent, if you have goals and you do everything you can to reach them, that's how you get to this point,
I agree. I have two examples that keep me focused on the time issue that you're talking about. I'll do it real quick. When I was at Grambling, there was a student that graduated. I think she graduated the same semester I did. She was 77 and she stayed on campus, right? So she lived the dorm life of a college student in her 70s, right? So for me, it's like it's never too late, one, to get your education. And then another example is one of my mentors. His mom was from Vietnam, I believe. And so when she came to America, she didn't speak a lick of English. So she was in college from when he was born to when he graduated Georgia Tech. They graduated school at the same time. It took her, that long to go through college curriculum, one, to learn English, and then to go through college curriculum as well. And now fast forward, she got like 3 degrees now. But, to your point, there's no time, there's no cookie cutter to say you have to do all of this stuff in a year or whatever the case may be. You go at the pace that you can go. And you, like you said, you set your goals, be realistic about the goals that you set, and just reach for those. And it'll happen over time. It will happen over time. Don't expect it to happen in 6 months or a year. It may take 5 years. It took me 15 going on 15 years, right? So yeah, it just be diligent about goal setting and reaching those goals, and you'll get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Charles, for your time. This was awesome. And it's always a pleasure speaking with someone that has so much knowledge and so much experience, especially in being an entrepreneur. If people were interested in your company, in you, where could they find you?
Sure. So our company website is www.Weems, Weems, designstudio.com. I do have a Facebook profile, but I spend more time from a business standpoint on LinkedIn. So you should be able to find me under Charles Weems the third.
Don't forget the third.
I would love to connect with anybody. So, look me up, add me. I'm always open to talk to people. So
I'm sure this episode will help a lot of people sitting on that idea or wondering if they should get a mentor or, we touched on so many different things, but it's always a pleasure. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
All right, you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Money Talk with Tiff podcast. For free resources and materials, head over to moneytalkwitht.com. And while you're there, why not sign up for our newsletter so you'll never miss an episode? Talk to you soon.